OwlCat Games made a really good RPG. It's one of the best that I've played. A spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. It has some amazing characters. A lot of people didn't play more than a little bit and then thought that it's woke, but it's not woke. It actually has some really great character design and good storytelling. Unfortunately, the company, from what I understand, is Russian. So they got shafted a little bit because if you know anything about the internet, apparently if you buy Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, it's like sending 3 tanks to Ukraine. It's that bad. I understood. All right, like I go on Twitter and Reddit in order to get knowledge and understand how the world works, and this is what I've been informed. But like rest assured, I understand that people spend a lot of money on Diablo, so they're probably sending a lot of NATO gear as well. Right? Notice how the mentality doesn't apply that way. Like if you spend money on Western games, you're sending NATO equipment, but if you're paying money on what was the other game? The one with the 2 robots lady, right? If you bought that, it was also sending resources to Putin. But it is what it is. And as I said, like the developers got the short end of the stick with this one. However, while you can argue that was not of their own making, this little fuck up is. So they released a new patch, which apparently installs spyware on people's computer. Following the latest update, they have just changed the EULA 2 years after release. Thereby, the user hereby agrees that OwlCat Games has the right to upload software program files to the user's device that will record CPU, RAM, operating system, graphics card, sound card, software, and application of other developers, peripherals, geolocation, and any other anonymous technical and statistical information from the user's computer. The user also agrees that OwlCat shall have the right to transfer the said anonymous information to its subcontractors, performing game development and vendors providing services necessary for operation of the game. So if you don't want the spyware installed, you can't play the game. You know what, I'm curious, and no company will tell you this, but it would be a very interesting question to ask. How much is the data worth? Like, legit. If you sell my data, right? So if you have the spyware, which harvests shit from my personal computer, how much money are you making? I'm genuinely curious. I would really want to know, like, how much is my data worth and why am I not getting a cent in return? Why am I not getting any money in exchange for you selling my data? Because surely this is not free, right? Like, surely they're making money when they're selling this to a third party. So I want to know, like, how much is it worth? But anyway, what's beautiful about this is the fact that the gamers rise up. And there was such backlash, even other developers spoke against this. I think like the developers of Postal actually said something against it. So eventually the company backpedaled and apologized for their own personal bullshit. As you can see, people are still downvoting this, saying that latest patch tries to install literal spyware on your system to sell all your data to third parties. Doesn't matter if a game is well made and enjoyable to play, this is absolutely deal breaker. Do not buy or play this game until OwlCat backs away from the attempts at data theft. It's really interesting that Steam didn't decide to shut down the negative reviews. The gaming press didn't try to defend OwlCat Games because this is very similar to the Skullgate bullshit, right? So like the Skullgirls bullshit, which also used the patch. And it upset players, and players gave reviews. Now, this company also set a patch, and it upset players, and players gave reviews. It's literally the same situation, but for some reason, I guess, like, if the game journalists agree with you, then it's fine. Or is it the company, huh? Like, if the company is not woke and progressive, they get to be reviewed bombed. Like, my point is, like, what's happening here is normal. Like, don't get me wrong, like, what happened to OwlCat game is normal. I wish it could happen to Skullgirls game without the game journalists having a hissy fit. Because at the end of the day, the consumer is king. And any type of grievance that the consumer has with the company is legit. So if the consumer doesn't like anything, like maybe the new patch doesn't smell of roses, the consumer is entitled to complain because they pay money for the product. So apparently the developer came in and said the software in question was a tool intended to help us measure the effectiveness of our social media content and sales. It will allow us to optimize our marketing efforts, waste less budget, and better spread information about the game. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, why is that my business? You know, you can do a crowdfunding on Subscribestar, Kickstarter. Like, there's other ways you can reduce budget spending than force spyware on people's machines. And even then, like, there are other companies that also have, like, similar forms of spyware. Do you know what they do? They have it enabled, and you can turn it off. Like, literally, you go into the option, they will even ask you, like, do you consent with the game harvesting data in order to improve future products? And it's interesting because a lot of gamers are fine with that. Like, a lot of gamers go like, yeah, sure, why not? But like, that's the normal way of doing it. This is bullshit. However, the feedback of the community clearly reveals that this method is not acceptable for our audience at all. We've severely underestimated how much you guys would be frustrated over this, and we are sorry. We heard you loud and clear. The third-party software has since been removed, all EULA returned, and all the data already connected has fully been wiped. We admit our mistake and apologize for the disturbance caused. Now, there's a lot of people that don't accept the apology. I personally do, because they reacted immediately, like it was a couple of hours, and they immediately took it down. You know, like, some people say, well, what if the data wasn't wiped? Well, I guess you can't possibly know for sure, but at the end of the day, you know, like, the fact that they apologized, that they removed the program, they probably didn't get enough data to do anything with it. So I genuinely, like, accept this. I think this is how companies should behave. They should listen to the customer. You know, maybe they looked at what other AAA companies are doing and what Facebook is gathering and what their threads is gathering, and I was like, well, you know, like, people can put up with this bullshit, but apparently not. It is interesting, though, like, this does spark a conversation, because people are more willing to put with AAA bullshit, but when it's a smaller studio, they have a tooth, and they're willing to attack it, which is good. I just wish that people would have the same ire towards AAA studios. There's a lot of problem over there. You know, but it is what it is. Personally, I did like their game. They're the ones that are making now a 40K game. And I personally am excited about that because, believe it or not, they seem to have good writing. So if the previous game is anything to go by, if Pathfinder Rite of the Righteous is anything to go by, then 40K might be great. I was going to not support them and encourage people not to buy the 40K game that they're making, but if they apologized and they actually reversed things to the way they are, I have no beef with them. Like, if you have beef, that's on you. I personally believe in Jesus, and I give people second chances. But I'm actually curious, like, what do you guys think, huh? Should they be given a second chance, or should the ire of the gamers fall upon them? Anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.